Welcome, everyone. We have just a jump up thing that we're doing here. We've got several people in. We've got TC of MBRR Media, new name. We've got AVA in here, and we've got Georgie. Welcome.
Hello.
Good morning, everyone.
And we are simul-streaming. We are on AVA's channel. So those of you coming in here, if you would do me a solid and leave my channel and go to his and watch all this live will be on his channel. So if you look up a Veteran Affairs Media, he'll come right up. Watch it on his because we're trying to boost his watch time so he can be monetized.
We're trying to give him some ego.
Keep pumping.
That's what she said.
Oh, jeez. Every time.
She really is the annoying little sister.
Every time. Skipper, just start. Just get it.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we're stuck with her.
You love me.
Oh, thank you for putting his link in there.
I do as I'm told.
Do we want to show this intro to his video?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that's what TC said.
Well, this is about him, and the intro is about him. So yeah.
Well, you're the old man of the group, so you're the boss, right?
I'm the old man.
Oh, shit.
I mean, you're not wrong. I'm also the funny one.
I appreciate it, Roy. Thank you.
Definitely not the pretty one.
I'm fine with that. Could you just push the play button?
See, that's proof.
Could you just push the play button? Hey, I'm TC.
I like
I'm here
the
to
shirt.
talk to you today about my friend AVA, a Veterans Affairs Media. Some of you might know me from my channel, Minnesota Black Robe Regiment. I'm the host and founder of that show. I'm also the co-host of Veteran Nation along with Mike Arthur. Both of us would consider AVA a good friend and a brother in arms, fellow veteran. And what AVA is here to tell you today is about his experience trying to get a redress of his grievances heard when the Veterans Affairs Administration failed him. You see, AVA went off, signed up to fight for his country, and was then abandoned when he needed them the most. You see, for over 20 years, well really for over 82 years, we have spent our time sending young men and now young women off to fight senseless wars. And especially for the last 20 plus years, we have been sending them off into the longest protracted engagement in the United States military, only to bring them home and abandon them. And that's exactly what AVA experienced. See, my brother in arms, my fellow veteran, didn't go overseas to fight in different combats of theater. He didn't sign up in the military to kill innocent people. He signed up because he wanted to serve his country. And at the end of that time of service, he expected to be taken care of, like the promise said he would be. Sadly, he's been abandoned. And you can have whatever political view you want, you can have whatever perspective on war that you want to have, but no matter what that perspective is, you have to acknowledge that we owe our veterans something. We owe them for being even willing to put their life on the line. But that's not what is happening, and we've seen this play out time and time and time again, whether it be strictly on my channel or on my show or over at Veterans Nation. We have talked to countless veterans who have all suffered exactly the same problems, exactly the same treatment. So I want you to pay close attention to what my brother has to say in this video. I want you to pay close attention to how he's treated in this video. And I want you to ask yourself, when you think about people who swear an oath to the Constitution of the United States, who swear an oath to keep and defend the Republic free from enemies both foreign and domestic, if this is what you expect to see them treated as when they come home and look for that help that they deserve. And if you can say at the end of this video that this is exactly what you would expect, then the blame falls on you. And if at the end of this video you can say that that's not how our veterans should be treated, then you have some answering to do and some explaining to do for your lack of compassion and concern. I love you, brother. Tell these people the truth.
Okay, that's it. Thank you for that, TC.
You have to thank me. Can you tell Georgie to stop bullying me in the private chat?
How come you have such large hands but little bitty arms? Like a T-Rex.
Are you talking to me or to TC?
She's clearly talking to someone else, because
We all just watched that video. We all saw your giant.
all I do all day long is a CrossFit workout that nobody else wants to do.
That
So,
doesn't explain the length of your arms.
I have long. What do you mean? I have normal length arms.
Not in that video.
Nope. AVA, you have failed every assignment to like. I know you have the time to get to Skipper and get that damn soundboard. every assignment.
I can neither confirm nor deny that this event occurred.
I have all chaos.
Anyway, so for those, before this goes any further sideways, good Lord, for those that don't know, Skipper has this grand idea of bringing AVA on as another host for Veteran Nation Live, because he just doesn't get mocked and picked on enough. Excuse me. He needs two people from the real military on his show. Yeah, that's what I said.
Soldiers are picking on me.
There you go. And
That's okay. I'll take it.
It's bad enough he's a Marine. He's an officer on top of it. So, but
I don't act like it.
Oh, you do. You do.
Thank you, everybody, for coming in to the chat, hanging out with us.
Make sure you are popping over to AVA and subscribing, and then watching through there if you can.
Yeah, please watch from his channel. We're on both, but please go to his.
We're working on.
So that intro, if anybody is interested in watching that video, I went to go see my Congress representative, and that video displays how they treat people in the public and even our veterans. And I was told to leave because my sign to protest was too big. So yeah, go check it out.
That's always fun. No, your sign is too big.
To me, that's just I don't know. They have signs in there that are almost the same size as mine, but mine is too big.
And again, that's what she said.
I'm gonna kick you.
I need a little sister sound for my soundboard.
So
Oh, so
for those that don't know, AVA is going through much. I mean, we've had that is not a beer. AVA is going through much of the same thing that Tav, the Angry Vet, went through over in Maryland, over on the East Coast. But Tav is dealing with much the same crap that every other veteran is dealing, or not every other, but a lot of veterans are dealing with the Veterans Affairs, um, the Veteran Affairs Administration's care for vets. And
I'm neither of those guys. I'm the problem.
you're all the problem. The rage quit. But AVA is hasn't quite had the exact same experience where Tav has been like charged and now adjudicated. Um,
well, I mean,
AVA
if you guys want me to spill the beans and talk about how this all started, I could do that.
Well, that's kind of why. Yeah, I mean, we've talked about it before, but there's a lot of people who are not familiar, who are recent, subscribers
And I think
to.
it's important because I was on Sasquatch's show yesterday, and there was another veteran who's been through exactly what you've been through, and that was
That
a
was
female.
the current. Yeah, that's insane. And the VA is well aware that these things are happening. They don't do anything. They just paint us, the veterans, the patients, in a bad light and make it look like it's our fault. But I was physically assaulted by 2 doctors, and it got covered up. I was sent to another VA so they can get rid of me. At this new VA that I went to, I got cyber stalked by my primary care doctor, and they turned it around and made me the bad guy, saying that I was going to come in there and delete everybody and that I threatened people. Things that I never did, and there was zero proof to. But if you wear a white coat at the VA, you can do anything you want. That's a short right there.
Yep. And the VA and AVA has dealt with this. The VA has doctors who cannot get licensed, but yet the VA hires them.
It's crazy because the doctor that stalked me, she filed false police reports against me to try to have my benefits taken away. And that's apparently illegal because she did it to the VA.
Go into detail and tell the audience some of what she said about you, because I don't think it's one thing to say this doctor did this thing. It's another thing to actually go into detail. Like you said that you had a doctor that basically, cyber stalked you, and now you're saying that filed false police reports about you. But tell people exactly what she did leading up to filing the reports.
She claimed, she went online to Facebook. I used to have a Facebook profile, and I had pictures on there of me playing airsoft. And we use fake pew-pews that shoot BBs, and they have orange paint on them so people can distinguish the fact that they're fake. She took those pictures to the police and tried to paint me in the light that I was a killer and that I was going to come in there and harm people there as the VA. And I don't know how long she did that, but since she did it at the VA, apparently it makes it okay because she's a doctor. But she didn't like the fact that I was going to hold her accountable because she was calling me at 6 p.m. at night, 7 p.m. at night, just to complain to me that I make too many appointments.
What a problem. And here's the thing: what's funny about that? To do a lot of stuff in the VA, you have to have these appointments. Like to get things approved, it has to go through. I'm not joking. Sometimes 7 different people.
Yeah, you're right. We have to do pretty much. In my view right now is you have to pretty much be dying in order for somebody to want to try to help you.
Oh, I've seen military, well, veterans with cancer not receive treatment and pass away in the hospital and never receive treatment for their cancer because the bureaucracy was, well, we need to do this and you need to do this. Like just ridiculous stuff.
Right, and I agree with that too. It's I know that this isn't as extreme as that, but I was in a wheelchair, but it took me 6 years of fighting the VA to get the surgery that I actually needed to let me stand on my own. And it was a constant struggle. And they wanted to do the cheapest or least cost-effective method or modality that they could find. As I brought up the fact that that there was different surgeries that could be done to help my exact problem, and they would tell me, "Oh, no, we're gonna burn the nerves and see if that works." Well, why would you want to see if it works when there's proven documentation on something that does work?
Well, this is just an example of how, you know, everybody complains about bureaucracy, the bureaucratic method and how bogged down it is. And they'll claim that these processes are in place to ensure that there isn't, waste and fraud taking place. But what we have talked about so often is how big the VA budget is and how much of that actually goes to the care of veterans as opposed to paying salaries and wages and building maintenance and upkeep and all these other ancillary things, which are all in place to generate the paperwork. Some of these people exist solely to generate the paperwork. That's their job.
Yeah.
Is to generate the paperwork, which they have to continue to do to be able to justify their existence. And what I try to get people to understand and to hear is that, like, a lot of us have a more socially, economically conservative, fiscally conservative bent. Not all of us, but most of us here do. And a lot of us are fed up, no matter what our particular bent is towards social issues and economic and fiscal issues, are just fed up with fraud and waste and abuse. And a lot of times that gets directed at people who are on some form of government assistance, right? Like you hear it all the time. Oh yeah, we can spend money on X, Y, and Z, but we can't afford, to do X for our veterans. And a lot of the times what they'll point out is welfare benefits or Social Security going to illegals, which by the way, it shouldn't be going to. Let's just flat out make that clear. But the biggest welfare recipients in the United States are government employees. End of story. And 1 to 2% maybe are actually worth the money they get paid. But by and large, the largest welfare recipients out there are government employees.
Man, it blows my mind that, to me, they feel that they're the ones paying the bill, or they're the ones paying for the appointment that you have to go to. So they don't want to do that paperwork. They don't want to do anything. And this is just my view, my opinion.
To elaborate on this, Selena, in the U.S., if you're a veteran, if you're below, I believe it's 30%, you can only get treatment for service-connected injuries. Once you get above 30%, then you're eligible to get free health care. Now, the problem is the VA will deny a lot of your injuries, saying that they're not service connected. So it's always a battle. Getting to that 30% isn't normally pretty hard, if you have someone helping you. But a lot of veterans try to go it alone is the issue.
And, and as much as we appreciate our neighbors to the north, oh, by the way, we are not interested in annexing you, and we are not interested in being in a North American union with you at all. I don't care what Donald Trump says. We don't want a North American union. That is, and we do not want to change the name of the Gulf of Mexico, but, and we don't want Greenland. We do not. We just don't want. But all that aside, as much as we appreciate our UK friends and our neighbors to the north, the United States does not want a single payer health system. We just don't. We have every medical innovation in the world comes out of the United States. A lot of doctors come here to be part of that innovation, but every medical innovation in the world comes out of the United States. And there is a philosophy here in the US that there is no such thing as free healthcare. Veterans do not get free healthcare. People who do get healthcare paid for, it's getting paid for by somebody. And that's by taking that money from other people. And the only people in the United States who deserve to have that money go to them to care for them are people who have actually, as part of their life, choose to sign on the dotted line and serve their nation. And literally, over the last 20 years especially, have been putting their lives on the line for what, like, I don't care what, and AVA knows where I stand on this, and so does Skipper, what's amounted to a worthless waste of time to come back and be treated like it's their fault. I mean, we had a bad enough problem with our vets returning from Vietnam, and we'll be addressing some of that tomorrow with a guest that we'll be having on. His dad was the last American to come home from Vietnam. But we had a hard enough time getting care for veterans coming back from Vietnam when the VA was much more refined and under control than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have 2 generations of people that have fought in one war, one conflict, long protracted conflict, literally 2 generations, where sons and fathers have been in long enough where they both had military careers during one conflict, who cannot get care because the VA has blown beyond, and I mean blown, it's literally blown beyond what it was ever intended to do. It is now nothing more than a money laundering scheme for politicians to stroke their egos and convince their constituents that they're really doing something for the military. And they're not. They're literally not doing anything for the military. There's a stranger.
Right? I saw him. I was like, oh, I got to highlight him.
Flying Auditor makes an appearance. Probably hovering over Skipper's house in a UAV right now.
What's going on, everybody in chat? Thanks for stopping in. We're just going over how great the VA is.
And We have a lot of people here, and for those watching on Veteran Nation, I thank you. If you're on the Veteran Nation YouTube channel, I thank you for watching. Here's what I'm going to ask you.
Mod
George is
the
going to
link.
put the link. Please go and watch this on AVA's channel because we are trying to boost his watch time so he can be monetized because he's got the subscribers. We just got to get the watch time up. So just she's going to put the link. Just go over to his channel and watch us all there. You're not going to miss out on anything.
And if this is pissing you off and you need downtime, you can just go watch the chickens too. So.
Flying Auditor, do you want in on this? Do you want me to send you a link?
He has some great views.
He does.
Yeah, the VA is nothing more than a bureaucratic BS. No, absolutely, that's 100% true. And that's why what put TC what's Lisa mean? Put TCS up. I don't. What's TCS?
Your link, dummy.
Those were initials. I don't see anything in there.
I understood what she meant.
PCs. There should be a
She just forgot the apostrophe.
The apostrophe. Here. I'm gonna move.
This is why we can't. This is why we can't have nice things. But the reality of what's going on is painted in. You know, I love what the Angry Vet has done. I really do love what the Angry Vet has done. I love what Blind Justice has done. I don't love what's happened to either, the Angry Vet or to Blind Justice. But what AVA has done to me is probably one of the better exposés on what's actually happening in the Veterans Affairs Administration and in the clinics, because it hasn't blown up in the same way that TAVS did, or the same way that Blind Justice did. And what I mean by that is that they just keep at your average person. Skipper and I can attest to this when, people are like, I don't know how you keep doing it. I'd give up after a while. That's what they're counting on.
Yeah.
They're literally counting on that. And so when
And they know we don't have a choice.
Right, exactly. And so when you have like what happened to TAV, that's really easy. And I'm not downplaying what happened to TAV. But when you take what happened to TAV, it's easy to be outraged. It's easy to be pissed off when you see what they actually did to him and the legal repercussions that were there. It's easy to watch Blind Justice and be angry about what was done to him there. Here's AVA just plugging away, still doing his thing, and nobody's noticing because, and I'm not downplaying, like he'll, AVA will attest to this, like it feels like people aren't noticing because his story doesn't have quite the same sexy feel. And when I say that sexy feel, what I mean is it's not the big in your face look at how terrible the treatment is. It's just easy to lose it in the morass of all of the terrible stuff that you see happening to TAV and happening to Blind Justice, because that's tangible. You're like, here you see people losing their freedom. And that's why I want so much attention on what's happening to AVA, because they're just waiting him out. That's all they're doing. They're waiting AVA out. Like, they can't wait out TAV anymore. TAV's exposed how he was treated.
Yep.
They cannot wait out Blind Justice anymore because he's exposed how he was treated. But those can get adjudicated kind of separately and even kind of quietly, where They push thousands of veterans down and away and out the same way that they're doing with AVA. The difference is AVA is documenting it, and he hasn't stopped. Well, he has to some degree because he hasn't put a video out for a while. Lazy piece of.
Well, okay. Let me take a pause right there.
This is why we call him Super Leg.
Oh God, I gotta scrub my dirty legs for you. No, I just I was harassed and put on a disruptive behavior list because I was recording at the VA. I want everybody to know that I did the same thing that Tav did and got a slap on the wrist compared to what he got.
Mhm.
It's insane, the double standards and the way that they treat people because of how they expose them. And I agree with you when you say that they're waiting me out. They really are. They wait to the last minute to do anything for me, or they just don't do it at all and just wait for me to disappear.
Yeah, they protect the bureaucracy. That's what their goal is, to protect their jobs. Not
Well, even the
to,
police are protecting them too.
oh, absolutely. Absolutely. They're not looking at what they need to do to best help our veterans. And
The, the investigator told me that he feels that the doctor did nothing wrong.
stalking you and lying about you is perfectly fine.
Sorry, I had to go turn my chicken. and not the ones outside.
Violet Wings, they do have rules, but they don't teach their employees what those actual rules are. They just make it up as they go because they feel that they're uncomfortable. The police will show up. They have special buttons that they push to activate the police to show up.
And that's something else to point out is that they have their own police force.
And an armory.
Their own police force who do not wear body cams.
Yep.
I would be suspicious of any police force that currently does not use body cams.
Especially when you're talking about a federal agency.
Yeah.
That we're not talking about like I live in a county that's like one of the poorest in the state of Minnesota. They still don't have body cams because it's an exorbitant expense. And there's some understanding as to that they're actually working on getting them, but they're trying to contract that. Whereas with the federal VA cops, there's like literally no reason at all why they can't afford body cams. And to address the other question about their rules allow, like, and this is a tangent, but I'm going to throw it out there. Who cares what their rules allow? Their rules, there's not a single rule that they can put in place that is justified in forbidding anybody from actually recording inside of a public area. And there's nothing that allows them to restrict any public area at all. And they will use arguments like, well, HIPAA doesn't apply to me. It applies to you. It's your duty and your responsibility to keep information private.
Yeah, that blows my mind when they try to pull that card every time.
And that's their weakness in their, but it works because most people will cower to that. AVA doesn't. And that's what they're doing. What he just puts this up randomly now, just like now.
Only when you're talking. We got to make sure. People have to know.
This is why, this is why people rage quit.
Don't do that. Emotional damage.
Emotional damage.
We love you.
Mm-hmm. It shows. Somebody did something to Georgie. What'd you do to
Calm
Georgie?
down, T-Rex.
But I at this point, I can tell anybody that if you have to get care at the VA, try to push for a higher percentage so that you can go to community care. No one in the VA is there to help you. No one there cares about you. And when you go to a community care specialist, you can see the difference. It's like night and day in the way that they care for you.
And that there are laws now that if you request community care, they pretty much have to give it to you. However, there is no there's Congress doesn't have any teeth. They pass these laws, but what's to stop the VA from not following it? Nothing. Really nothing.
Well, we know Congress won't do anything to help this situation. They definitely don't want to help Tav. They don't want to help Blind Justice. Congress just makes up stuff to appease the public, I believe.
Which is why, again, why I think what you do, AVA, and have done with your channel thus far has been maybe one of the most important aspects of
Hey,
what
fine.
every veteran. Hey, FA. That's been one of the most important aspects of what needs to be done is that every veteran needs to walk into their, who's actually part of the, in the VA system needs to walk into the clinic and have their camera going. You just do. You have to be willing at some point to say, like, I had the temerity, I had the intestinal fortitude, I had the nuts to like join the military, knowing there's a good chance that I could go out into the world wherever they want to send us for whatever reason and lay my life down to die, but I can't come up with the guts to put a camera on and like go and record these public servants as they're treating vets like crap. And it's easy for me to say because I haven't gotten into the system yet. And Skipper and I've talked about this thing. He knows why I don't want to be involved because I keep hearing all these damn horror stories, and everybody who knows me knows I'll go in with the camera. I'll be the I think if I probably tried to walk into a VA clinic right now, I think I'd probably just get turned away. They'd be like, "No, we know you." Like,
you would probably lose your shit, but
it'd make for great watching.
oh yeah, you get a lot of views. that and eventually you would get help.
Yeah, eventually.
Probably psychological.
Don't give up and don't die. That's the best advice I was ever given by another veteran. If you don't give up and you don't die, the VA will give you what you deserve.
But it sucks that we have to fight another war after we already finished one.
Yeah.
So flying auditor. Did he? Oh, he just went off screen. So maybe he's not listening now. So let's just act like everybody's frozen and see if it. See how long.
Oh man. So how about those fires in LA?
It was probably one of the It was probably one of the homeless veterans out there that did it. I'm sorry.
They're trying to get the land for the soldiers and sailors home back.
Yeah, that's a whole another conversation there. They're still letting UCLA build over there.
There's a couple
for those that don't know, somebody donated. It was how many acres was it, Skipper?
Like 40 acres.
Yeah, somebody donated 40 acres to the VA for housing for veterans. And the Veterans Administration literally sold the land off.
Oh, actually, what they've done is they've leased it. So UCLA,
leased it.
yeah, they've built dorms on it. They've built a baseball stadium on it, but yet we still have a massive homeless veteran problem in Los Angeles.
And do you see what Ernie Boyd posted?
Yeah, I was just about to highlight it.
That's insane. Like, you went to go get help and you leave with a disease.
I mean, and to be fair to the VA, that seems to happen in a lot of hospitals now. So, like, I'm waiting for death certificates to now say died with MRSA.
Tammy, I'm right there with you too. I understand that. I had to get an MRI and it took me almost a year to get it. The VA just dragged their feet.
Ernie, I don't blame you for destroying it. I think sometimes what a lot of people do with documentation like that is they can't bear to look at it anymore. So, well, Yoda is here, so I think now would be a good time for us to talk about the fact that we're going to be launching a fundraiser through the Veteran Nation nonprofit to get some help for Yoda because Yoda lost his.
It actually won't go into the Veteran Nation accounts, but
Right.
I'm going to set up either a GoFundMe or a GiveSendGo for Yoda and their family because Uncle Frank passed away a couple days ago. Uncle Frank was a guest on this show. He was a Vietnam veteran, and in Vietnam, he had the very dangerous job of being a tunnel rat. And we appreciate, all the times Uncle Frank came into the comment section, all the time Yoda's been in the comment section. So we're going to have that.
FYI, Yoda, your wife hacked your Twitter messages, by the way.
It sounds like there's going to be some marriage counseling coming out of that one.
No, she sent me a picture of Uncle Frank in his uniform, and I asked if I could share it.
Aww.
So your better half sent me a picture on Twitter. So
Can we see?
I'm assuming yes, but like I will wait for her to make sure that I can before I do, because I'm really make sure I abide by people's privacies. But I have to open my Twitter. So.
Well, Yoda's in the chat, so why not just say, "Hey, can we share this picture, Yoda?"
Yeah, Yoda, can I share that picture? I'm sure she does. I wasn't like telling on her by that. I was thinking it was funny. Like there's no like, oh, she's on your thing. It was more of a haha. You got your.
I just want everybody to be aware also that we've already mentioned that Skipper wants to bring AVA on like full time as one of our regular co-hosts of Veteran Nation Live, which means you're going to see more of him. I don't, but he also likes to say things in private chat that just need to be exposed. He said, and these are his words, he only has about 15 minutes left before Wide has to go to work. And AVA, I don't think that's a good way to refer to your better half. So,
my boss.
I don't know that I would call my boss Wide either, but I mean, I hope she doesn't hear this because
It's my turn to take care of the kids. She's got to go.
Uh,
So the kids are scheduled for a ruck march then, or is that what we're?
Something like that. We're gonna go to the park, get that energy out. They're going nuts.
Oh, so it's like taking it's like taking Marines off ship and like putting.
Yeah,
them
it's
in-
like herding cats.
This that's how I feel for like everybody in the Navy. They're like, oh yeah, we got Marines on board. Oh jeez.
Hush for a second, TC.
Hide the
Squid,
crayons.
Yoda said yeah.
I know he wrote me. I'm just saving it because for some reason it's not working on my when I saved it when I try to when I try to open it in a new tab, it's like super tiny, and I'm trying to save it to my computer, but it's not the right file type, and I'm like. So let me see if I can override the. There we go. Let's see if that works. There we go.
The temporary house that I'm at right now, there's a park right across the street from us.
There you go.
Is it on fire? It is in California.
No, the smoke has made its way up here.
The first day when we had eastern winds, I could smell it and see the smoke. But ever since that first day, nothing. They just keep turning the power off.
I actually think that the fog, that fog that everybody was really scared of a couple of weeks ago, is what caused all of this. It was the fog.
Did it? Like, I tried to share my screen and it says it's being shared, but it's not.
Skipper, is there anything on your end that you have to do for her to be able to put that picture up? Because
it's backstage.
Yeah, it says it's backstage.
If you have it in some way that you can send it to me, I can put it up.
You not just hit share screen.
Yeah, because it's literally my screen.
Yoda says my wife has access. My wife has access to everything.
There we go.
Aww.
Look at him.
That's one good-looking soldier right there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, yeah.
Calm
That's
down,
Uncle
Dorothy.
Frank back in the day.
I think that it's just it. I think it's only fair that Squid had a little bit of technical trouble getting the picture to share it, because Uncle Frank would have had like far worse trouble and then made jokes about it.
Yep.
Well, see, I don't use Restream, so I don't know. Like, I shared it and then it like put it backstage, and I'm like, how do I?
Except Uncle Frank would not have realized that his mic was on, and would have been cursing the system out. Live. How do you work this thing? Why isn't it working? I don't know. Am I wrong? I'm not wrong.
No.
No, in fact, you just reminded me of something. I'm gonna see if I. Yeah,
He'd be saying, Yoda, make this work.
And I hope people who don't know, I'm pretty sure Yoda would not be offended by me saying that, because we're not making light of the truth. That's just, I said yesterday, Uncle Frank, when we got the news, Uncle Frank it is sad for all of us, but Uncle Frank would have said, no, don't.
I got to show you guys this real quick. I just saw it this morning.
Wanted us to make jokes.
Do you see I'm on the fucking phone?
Okay, where's the? Oh, hold on.
Uh-oh. Oh, it's a live television show, and Rosalie didn't want to be interrupted on the phone.
Hold on.
we're gonna let her take care of whoever was interrupting. And the thing I think you're gonna really like is, do you see I'm on the fucking phone?
Oh, nice.
So, just you saying that reminded me. Very exactly what you were describing.
We lose way too.
Okay, well, on that note, I'm going to say thank you for letting me rant and rave on your platform. Thanks for letting me share it
It's
out.
your platform now too.
Yeah.
Don't expect a salary. Trust me, it's not going to happen.
It cost me
Okay.
money.
I'll send you feet pics. You too, Squid.
If you subscribe to
don't.
AVA's channel,
I will pay you not to.
Accept the challenge.
Gross.
I have to make dinner yet now, and I just don't know if I'm going to go.
is there any equivalent for dudes who like feet pics? Is there any equivalent for women? Like,
No.
No.
No, there are women. There are women who like feet pics.
Mm-mm.
Yes, there are.
I like chicken feet.
TC would know because he has an OnlyFans for his feet.
Only feet.
Yeah.
Only feet. Oh, I got a plan.
Oh boy. You should share your little T-Rex arms. I bet you'd make some money off those.
All right, I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate it again. I'll talk to everyone later.
Bye, Ava.
My little
Thank you.
T-Rex.
Thank you, everybody in the chat.
See ya.
Tell my kids hi.
No.
Y'all are so wrong.
So, the last time that we were on, which was just this last weekend, we talked a little bit about the narrative that's going to come out now against vets, which has been there for a long time. They have been working to expel radicals from the military, and a radical is anybody in their eyes who holds anything other than a completely slavish mentality to the state, to government. And I haven't even I'm introducing the article, jackass.
He rants so we don't have to.
I rant because I'm the only one that can keep it together. Skipper gets lost in his own train of thought. So
This is true.
Skipper's still prettier than you.
you know what? You can, we all get it. You're young enough to have had a crush on Gru. So
What the fuck?
but after January 1st of 2025, I warned people that the narrative against active duty military and veterans is going to get ramped up, and it's happening. Or it started to happen right away, but they are upset that they couldn't get enough of the radicals out, and they're now talking about it now, and they're now saying that
The comment.
which one? I can't keep up with
Expelling
them.
radicals from the military, so they're getting rid of the Marine Corps.
No, Marines follow orders too well.
They
That's
just
because
use their
they can't
crayons.
think for themselves. They never could. That's why they joined the Marine Corps. Somebody else thinks for them.
We just hand them crayons and they're happy.
Please,
We're
no,
not.
never
count.
again. No, it's hard enough watching Tav do his shirtless live streams. I don't ever want to. Tav doses and then he does shirtless live streams. It's It's not pretty. But
You didn't happen to see my New or Christmas or either New Year's.
no,
Eve?
I
Year's.
saw I
Year's.
saw them. Yeah, I saw Skipper in the hot tub. Yes.
I had to have him make sure that we confirmed he was actually wearing shorts.
I was.
We had,
You
At
would
that
have
point,
I
probably
needed
got
that
more.
confirmation.
You would
really
probably
matter?
got more super chats if he wasn't.
But
You're probably right, but I also would have been demonetized, so I would have needed the super chats.
Not together. That's gross.
not happening. Together or alone, it's not happening. But they're lamenting that we haven't been able to get rid of the radicals out of the military, which, of course, when you think about it, we can't. If we kick all the radicals out of the military, then they're going to just be radically disgruntled veterans. So they're now decrying that Pete Hegseth is going to protect the radicals, and I have my reservations about supporting Hegseth as a member of the cabinet, but I'll cover that sometime on my own channel. But they're now predicting that we're going to have more problems with more veterans doing more things like this and more active duty military people doing things like what happened on January 1st, which tinfoil hat and all that. We need conspiracy kitty. All that aside, there's something about what happened on the 1st of January that it's all well to coordinated to have all been an accident. And I'm not saying that New Orleans guy is linked to Las Vegas guy. Like, people are like, oh, they were both at Fort Bragg. I'm like, do you have any idea how big Fort Bragg is? I mean, I'm still meeting people that were there when I was there that I had no idea who they were. And there were people who were at Fort Bragg when I was at Fort Bragg that I did know from time in Germany that I never saw. One time I saw one guy. I saw him one day, and I never saw him again. And we were there together the whole time. So the idea that these two guys just happened to be running in the same circles and that's how all this happened is just hogwash. I'm not saying that they got together at Fort Bragg and plotted this years ago. What I'm saying is there's just too much about this that all helps feed this narrative and this agenda. And we really need to be watching out for our military and for our veterans right now, because they're going to use this crap to go after more and more veterans.
TC, there were people on the same ship that I didn't like. There was somebody in my own squadron that Mr. Squid works with, and he was there when I was there, and I have no idea who he is. So we were in the same squadron.
Precisely.
So it's
so we do need to be doing things to to protect people and watch out for them, while also recognizing where there could be dangers. But they are going to be going after the military. They're going to keep this up. This isn't going to change just because Trump's going into office. The people that are in control of these decisions in the Pentagon aren't going to disappear. And that's something that people have to wrap their minds around. Like, we've got a little over a week before Trump ascends to his throne, and him taking the White House, and going in and actually being sworn in as president again, is not going to stop the radical anti-American agenda that we're seeing all throughout all levels of the state. And it's not going to stop the anti-American agenda and the warmongering mentality that exists within the United States military's Pentagon leadership. And people have got to understand that. it just is not going to stop just because the one person that we think is got the power to stop it will, because he doesn't have the power to eliminate these people. And Pete Hegseth is not going to have the power to eliminate these people. They're implanted, and they have an agenda, and that is to marginalize the military, marginalize veterans, and make anybody who doesn't comply with, whatever approved agenda is coming at them out to be a dangerous radical that needs to be eliminated. And we saw that with AVA talking about what was going on in his life, where you had a VA doctor cyber stalking him and then reporting him for being potentially dangerous for taking part in a recreational activity that literally was involving fake pew-pews. They're not above red flagging every single veteran they don't like. And so these are the things that we have to watch out for going forward. And especially veterans like AVA or even Skipper, who has his own fight going on right now. I mean, Skipper, that's kind of one of the mentalities that's being directed towards you, is that your opinions do not serve the mission of the base that you work on as a civilian contractor.
They have stated that the government's interest in its mission outweighs my freedom of expression. In writing, they've said that.
So these are the things that should deeply concern all of us who are veterans or love or care for veterans. And this is what should be pushing us to greater reform in, for lack of better terminology, in any administration, whether it's a Trump administration or the next administration to follow the Trump administration. And that's why this is why this show is so important, is that we're not afraid to talk about these things. And there are veterans platforms out there that talk a lot about veterans issues, but they don't want to talk about some of this because it's upsetting. And I get that. Like, I get it. We do want to talk about the 22 a day. Skipper and I have done a lot of conversation about the 22 a day. Skipper and I have done a lot of conversations with others who have loved ones with unexplained deaths in the military. Like literally loved ones dying in their dorm rooms in private and not being checked on for, what was Heather's, how long was how long did Caleb go before they finally actually checked on him?
At least 72 hours.
Yeah. No, it was like nobody had heard from him, and it had almost turned out to be a week. Really heard from him in what appeared to be almost a week.
And the most concerning thing is they were reporting in their logbook that they did check on him.
Yeah. And unexplained, deaths, unexplained murders. These things are all stuff that we need to talk about. And a lot of people are afraid to talk about them because it puts them on the radar. And I get it. It's uncomfortable. But these are the things that do need to get talked about. And articles like this, even though it's coming out of, it's coming from a perspective that's definitely more hard left, we need to be willing to bring these up, and we need to force these into the conversation. And we need to get people who aren't hard left to actually start talking about these things and pushing this, not from a political perspective, because involving politicians in this is just stroking their egos. You're going to get people who are going to stand up and say things like, well, I'm going to stop this. Like, no, like, don't just say you're going to stop it. Let's talk about what you can tangibly do as an elected person to have an impact. What can you do to bring oversight into this? What can you do to start controlling funding for the military and say, look, you're not getting a dime for anything until you start coming up with a plan to stop some of this. And that's one of the things that Heather did when she lost her son, is Heather didn't just get sad and talk about what happened to Caleb. Heather took the initiative and she started reaching out to politicians, and she forced herself into into their orbit, and she got some legislation passed that now requires the military to actually check on people and not just say they did. And that's what we need is we need a lot more people like, Heather, and to have the intestinal fortitude to say, okay, I'm never going to get justice in this situation, but what can I do to prevent this from happening to someone else? And it's the same thing with AVA. Like he maybe isn't going to see the kind of justice that he should get. Like there should be somebody apologizing to him for how he was treated, and there should be some sort of financial remuneration for him, like a large amount. Like he should never have to worry about working again for how he's been treated. The same thing with the angry vet. The same thing with blind justice. Those three may never get that, but can we get those stories into the sphere of people's thought process to actually impact it and change things going forward, so that it never happens to anybody else again? And that's why for me, that's why we do this show. That's why these things matter. It's not just to put out political opinions. It's to get people fired up enough to actually start doing something about what's going on, how veterans and how the military are being treated. Not just because we hate the left or we hate the right or anything like that, whatever your political perspective might be. But what are we actually doing for the people we all say we care about? Literally, what are we doing? That wasn't really a rant. That was just me talking. Skipper didn't have to put up the rant warning.
Yeah, and that's what's so incredibly frustrating is, many of us recognize it's a degradation of our rights, and we'll fight, and then I get people who will be like, why do you care? And it's like, because this affects us, and it affects the next people who are going to be doing things.
Right.
I will say, very fortunately, in the last 15 years, there's been some great Supreme Court decisions, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
Skipper, could you real quick, I know since somebody just brought up the topic, Roy Lonesinger just brought up the topic, and I think now is a good place to bring this up because it's that time of year again. A lot of people are seeing their state houses and their state senates come into session. I know here in Minnesota we're doing that, and I'm active in an effort that's called Defend the Guard. And Skipper, if you could bring up the Defend the Guard website, that would be awesome. But Roy said it all started with Congress shirking their responsibilities and allowing the executive branch to commit troops without a declaration of war. And Zach said, thank you, Roy. If we restore war power to Congress, we will take a massive step towards fixing how our military is used. Those two statements are very true, but also put the focus too much on the Congress at the federal level. What we really need to do, and every single active duty military member and every single veteran in the United States needs to get behind this legislation and find out who in your state is advancing this legislation, what organizations are advancing it, and what politicians. I don't care if they're Democrats. I don't care if they're the the People's Party of Democracy. We need every single veteran and every single active duty military individual to get to this website, find their state, find their representatives, find their organizations in their states that are supporting this, and we need to get this passed. Because what this does is that when we get this passed at the state houses and the state senates, and it becomes law in the individual states, it says that no National Guard troop, no Air National Guard, no Army National Guard, no troop, no airman will be deployed or activated without a declaration of war made by Congress. This forces Congress to do it. This absolutely forces Congress to do this. Here in Minnesota, we have two parties, the Libertarian Party of Minnesota and the Republican Party of Minnesota, are actually pushing this. Guess who's not pushing this?
Warmongers.
Warmongers. Exactly. And so we
Which
have
surprisingly is not the Republican Party these days, or at least the certain aspects of it.
certain segments. Yes, absolutely. Well, we'll see. There are parties within the individual parties who are on board with this, but they're kind of the minority. But most of our support is coming from state libertarian parties and segments of the Republican Party in most states. We've yet to be able to get a single Democrat in the state of Minnesota to support this. And most states are having the same problem because
Shocker.
the neocon warmongers in the Republican Party and throughout the Democrat Party don't want this because it takes away their ability to deploy the actual active duty military. The state of Minnesota has the longest deployed National Guard unit in the global war on terror. And by the way, that same National Guard unit also holds the record for the longest deployment of all military units to include active duty. Now, let that sink in. People who signed up to be part-time soldiers, and that is not an insult. That is an absolute fact. They signed up to be part-time soldiers who signed up to help their state, to be there to help during floods and other natural disasters, and God forbid, some sort of riot, were deployed. And to give an example, we just had Hurricane Helene here a few months ago. As Hurricane Helene is ravaging areas, troops in Kentucky and Georgia, guess what was happening to them? They were being activated for Helene. No, they were being activated to go to places like Poland, Macedonia, or not Macedonia. What is not Macedonia? What's the country?
Put in the comments about Private Holiday up only because that's a case that we have covered on this this channel before. Private Holiday went missing, and they ended up finding his body. He was missing from Fort Bliss. Ended up finding his body mysteriously in Mexico, and the Army is not interested in looking into it.
Right. And it's just absolutely imperative for people to understand that we can impact that. Like they can't keep fighting these illegal banker wars on the backs of lower middle class and the poor, regardless of their ethnicity. They can't keep fighting these illegal wars to benefit the military industrial complex, to benefit Raytheon and all these other companies, if they don't have the ability to just look at your National Guard troops and your Air National Guard troops and say, oh, hey, guess what? We're yanking you away from your family. We're yanking you away from your decent paying full-time job to go over here and do X. And now Minnesota is getting ready to deploy National Guard troops to Syria. I mean, like, for what? To benefit who? And this is why, exactly, Skipper. And this is why we need this legislation passed, not just in Minnesota, but in every single state. And we need you, the audience. I know how many people watch Skipper's stuff. I know how many people watch our show. I know how many people subscribe. If we could get a third, if we could get a quarter of you who watch, if we could get a quarter of Squid's audience, if we could get a quarter of AVA's audience, if we could just get a quarter of you to get actively involved in this movement. Aw. That's so sweet. But if we could,
Oh, I have to tell y'all.
if we could get everybody involved, we could change all of this. Go ahead, Squid.
What time did Uncle Frank go to the hospital? Because about 9:30 last night, I started feeling so sick. And then I was like, okay, I'll just go to bed. So I went to sleep, and like I woke up at 1:30, and I literally thought I was dying. Like I literally thought I was dying. I went into the bathroom. I threw up a couple of times. Like took some medicine, threw that up. Like it was a bad night. It was a really bad.
I wonder if it was Uncle Frank that Mussy connected to the other night when she did the reading of me.
It was a really bad night last night.
We
But
should-
the same thing happened after
How are you
the
feeling
same
now?
thing happened after Jeff died. So I don't know.
You're not
It's
still
weird.
feeling sick, are you?
No, I woke up this morning. I was perfectly
I'm
fine.
gonna disinfect my stuff because I get psychosomatic sick dad syndrome. Like if I'm surrounded by anybody that's sick, I'm automatically going to have it, even if I don't.
No, I woke up this morning. I was fine. Like nothing ever happened.
Is everyone else having diarrhea?
Would you
That I
stop?
Are
didn't
you
have
trying
time.
to give TC the shits?
No, I had the stomach bug 2 weeks ago now. It was 24 hours. I tried to blame the food, like it's always like I ate something and I immediately started to get bubble gut and I'm like, oh, it must be the food. I must be sensitive to it. And then it was like, oh yeah, it was bad for like 18 hours. So like I'm like, I
It's
don't know.
rare
TMI
that I-
moments with TC.
It's
Huh?
rare that I take something from a Marine and I'm like, oh, I'm going to use that. But years ago, I had a staff sergeant who was like, yeah, I can't come into work. I'm peeing out my butthole.
Yoda said he passed just a little bit after 1 a.m. He also went into the hospital at 7:52 p.m.
So
I
it's
woke up
Friday.
at like I woke up and I looked at my phone because I thought it was like 3 or 4. It was 1:09. Tell me that's not weird.
That's you connecting with your gift.
Yeah, and one, I'm like, why me? And 2, how do I control this crap? Because I'm sick of getting sick every time someone passes away.
When
I
they
think
try to
everybody-
connect with you and you don't want them to connect, just say, not right now, please.
Didn't work. I must be really just bad at that. That's weird.
I think everybody
Yeah,
that's been feeling really sick, I think it's all the fog. It was the fog.
No, I was only sick from the time I
Not-
went to bed last night till about 1:30.
Not you. I'm talking about everybody talking about how nauseous they've been for the last few weeks. It was the fog, I'm telling you. It was nanoparticles. It was the nanoparticles.
And Squid, you talking about this when y'all first told me what happened, the first thing I thought of was the night Music gave him that reading and she connected with Elizabeth. They're together again.
But so tomorrow, because we've been at this now for almost an hour and a half, I know you guys, some of your streams go on. People are like, your stuff is so long. I'm like, no, here, let me introduce you to people that really like to talk. So we're going to get ready to wrap this up for today, but everybody still continue to make sure you head over to AVA. We need everybody who watches to subscribe to AVA. If you haven't already subscribed to the Wilburns or to Squid, please do so. And we also need you to watch their content. They're already the Wilburns and Squid are already monetized, but we still need to drive up their hours. And we need everybody to watch at least 2 videos a day from AVA. Even if you don't watch them, just put them on in the background. We really need to push his hours watched, and we need to push his subscriber count up. We need to get this man monetized. We need. We don't want him on OnlyFans. Nobody wants that. But tomorrow, Skipper and I, and this is not to eliminate anybody else from the conversation, but tomorrow, Skipper and I are exclusively. We're going to be doing a members only stream with a lady who is actively involved in fighting for justice for the J6 prisoners. And that's going to go up for the first maybe week, maybe a little less, but at least 4 to 5 days. It'll be only available to the members of the channel, and we'll be streaming exclusively to the members of the channel tomorrow. So if you want to be on the front end of that conversation, be part of that, tune in, sign up for membership here on the channel. And then we're also going to be doing another live stream then tomorrow with a gentleman whose father was the last American military member to come home from Vietnam. And that will be live for everyone. So we've got 2 lives tomorrow. One is going to be at 10 Pacific, 12 Central, or 1 Eastern. We don't care about Mountain Division. They fall in there in that weird place. So noon Central, and then you work it out from there. That will be with the son of the Vietnam veteran who was the last to come home. And then we have not determined which time we're going to do the members only stream for the J6 lady. So we will be doing that tomorrow. So, so you get 3 episodes of Veteran Nation Live, and I'll let Skipper explain what's the difference between everything else he does and what Veteran Nation Live is as we get ready to wrap up.
Veteran Nation Live is our more structured show of me and TC, where we bring stories, we do interviews. It's not just us sitting here shooting the shit. But if for any of Squid, Georgie, you guys want in on it, you're more than welcome to come and join in on the discussion. It just we'll do more structured stuff, and we do that now on the weekends. We used to do it on Tuesdays, but we're now doing it at least every other weekend.
Yes, because I've changed my schedule now. I go to bed before Skipper gets home from work.
He's an armor now.
I just also get up at 4:15 and do my workout instead of doing it after work. So I like to go to work exhausted for my workout instead of coming home from work exhausted and doing my workout.
I don't know how you get up that early.
Well, I go to bed and then I set an alarm clock.
Yeah, I can get up. I can't function.
I that was my excuse for the first week leading up to the change. Like, I don't know how I just do it. And like my whole day at work is basically CrossFit. So I do my mornings mostly cardio. And so like yesterday it was 5 miles before work, and today just to make sure I got my full I set a target of 13,000 steps for myself in a day. And so I did 7.5 miles this morning before I started doing anything else. I got the chicken stream going and then I did my workout. And so yeah, I'd much rather, I don't know how to explain it, but the first 5 minutes is like, oh shit. It's like, I am not in the mood to do this. And then I'm like, can I set it at? I'm just gonna set it at 2 miles an hour because that's how I'm feeling. But then I'm like, no, I feel better. And next thing I know, I'm up to 4.5 to 5.5. You know, so I'm thinking by February I might actually be running again.
I'm signing up for a 5K for the it's an Freedom Run. It's through the ROTC at Georgia Southern in April. So I have no choice. We did the Ruck 5K last year. I'm not really sure what we're gonna do, but the idea of running with 30 pounds sucks right now.
I'm a cardio guy. I ran cross country and track in high school and into college. So to me, that's less daunting. You know, that's it. The one that I have, because I do so much lifting during the day at work now that I'm in a warehouse as opposed to just being a leech off society. I was a leech to society for 12.5 years working for the sheriff's office. I said what I said. If you want to know more, you can check out my story on my channel. We won't go into it here. But I do so much lifting during the day at work that I'm just like, I kind of like the cardio. I forgot how much I enjoyed it. I used to. George, and just this is not going to shock anybody. In private chat, Georgie's like, the only thing I run is my mouth, and I think we can all say,
well, I gained
we can all
13
say
pounds
amen.
since my birthday.
When was your
So,
birthday? 2 weeks ago.
Hurricane Helene was my birthday.
Oof.
Yeah.
I wonder why. I mean, you weren't stressed
birthday.
out or anything.
Muscle weighs more than fat. And you've been
No,
working out.
this is this is not muscle. Like,
at least you're not Jigglypoof. Come on, Skipper, find Jigglypoof.
I feel
Find
like a freaking
Jigglypoof
marshmallow.
before we find Jigglypoof before we go.
I'm fluffy.
Valor Motorsports wants to know y'all have links to channels. What kind of channels are you looking for?
Can I drop a link to my new merch store?
I mean,
yes.
Well, I always ask because what channel is one thing, but like merch stores are different.
Leaf, you're not Jigglypoof.
Georgie, did you see the name of my merch store?
I did not.
Look at the chat. Look at the website.
You took that nickname and ran with it, didn't you?
Yeah,
Hey,
kind of like somebody taking Flock around and find out and running with it.
I nicknamed her Squiddles.
Flock off.
Listen, I couldn't put fuck around and find out as the title. It would have.
No, it's okay.
Speaking of that,
no, it's
the
fine.
little one is up. And the little one is up, and she obviously passed the man cave where her father is gaming. So I have to go get her. So I will see you guys later.
Bye,
Have a good
Squiddles.
one. We're gonna be wrapping this up.
We're wrapping up anyway.
You're blurry.
Yeah, you've been blurry for a while. I thought it was on my end, but it's
definitely Skipper.
They're just trying to. YouTube's just trying to spare everybody the site. Yeah. So yeah, Valor wants to know what our channels are. Can somebody put the links?
Okay.
I mean, that's all you're here for anyway.
Excuse me?
I'll get Squids. I'll put the link to Squid.
I wasn't even in the chat, but I can be. I was coloring listening to you on your soapbox.
Put them all in there, Skipper, since we've got a wannabe Marine coloring.
Calm down, T-Rex. At least my arms and hands match.
Women like guys with big hands.
Not little arms.
I don't have little arms.
They're short.
They're not short.
Your arms are definitely short.
My arms are not short.
Your arms are definitely short.
No.
You're also old, which probably means you need Blue Chew.
Wow. Trust me, not. No. Nope. I'm not gonna. No, I'm not. Nope. Yeah. Thanks for asking for the channels. Valor Motorsports. Really appreciate it. I hope that you will check out all our content and subscribe to everybody.
We got AVA up to 828 subscribers,
Let's go.
It's very
and
good.
we've had like over 15 watchers for the most part during all of this forum. So, thank you everyone doing that. That
So,
really
wait,
does.
wait. So, on average, we had over 15 for this
For him on his
for
channel.
him from his channel. Okay, good. How are we doing?
We've had over 100 the whole time. Right now we've got 43 of those are on Twitter, 48 on mine, and right now 15 on AVA's.
Okay, good. I'm glad we're still getting numbers, because I noticed last week that because we don't like to talk about that certain topic that you guys all talk about during the rest of the week, it seems like everybody drops out, and I'm like, okay, that's fine. Yeah, whatever. That's fine.
Not every show is going to be about him.
That. So, but yeah, everybody, make sure you tune in tomorrow. Going to be great conversations, and I'm looking forward to meeting more people coming in, finding our stuff new. And Valor, I hope you check out everybody's channels.
Speaking of Jeremy Hales, and I know you don't like that topic, but he did agree.
Like it. It's just I'm not. It's not in my wheelhouse. It is to a degree in my wheelhouse, but everybody's already talking about it. But so I don't need to.
He did agree while he was in the chat to do a live stream with me about business. We're not going to talk about the drama, but we're going to talk about business. And if you would like to get in on that, I'm just going to pick his brain about business stuff.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, he's a very good businessman.
Now Georgie's picking on me in the private chat again.
Oh, we can play. Do we want to do that later, Georgie? You want to play?
You just go.
You should play with us, TC. Quiplash.
I might, but
you don't even have to be on screen. You just play on your phone.
No, I know what Quiplash is. We play it here at home through. Adult son has a Switch, and we've played before with him, so I know
Nice.
Quiplash. So, I'm having to rewatch, and just heard you were asked to leave because your sign was too big. No, I think someone's feelers was hurt. Keep doing what you're doing and opening people's eyes. Thank you. Yeah, that's exactly what was going on there. So, but
No one
Yeah.
shared. They're saying they're wanting the links, but they're not on AVA's side of the chat. So he was telling them they have to come over there to get the chat.
Yeah. And you could just also look up a Veterans Affairs Media. You can look up the Wilburns. You can also look up Squid Pro Quo.
And looking me up doesn't come up that easily, because there's other Wilburns on YouTube that are more popular than I am.
That's changing steadily for the last 2 weeks, by the way. So, like the most rapid growth I've ever seen in a channel of all the people that I know with channels ever. I've never seen that before.
I'm completely dumbfounded by it. Hi, Miss Heather.
So yeah, I hope that everybody will find our channels and subscribe. And Skipper, I think until tomorrow we're probably good. You want to take us out?
Sure.
And not like a California firefighter.
And Coop just got here.
That's what. Okay.
Well, we can plan to play Quiplash later. I know. Mrs. likes to play with Quiplash.
long as we do it before my true crime stream tonight.
Oh,
Just
and
let
by
me
the
know.
way, Skipper and I are joining for True Crime next week during the afternoon.
Yes. Do you remember what time we said for that? Because I got to reschedule my stream for that.
I don't. I thought it was like 2 Central, but I could be wrong. Whatever time you get out of
That's
bed.
fine.
So, whatever time you get out of bed. So, sometime after 4 in the afternoon.
You know what?
You do it to me. So, Skipper, roll up this.
All right, folks.
Roll up the gangplank.
Well, we might play a game later on today, but definitely check us out tomorrow. And if you're a member, you can also watch our members only stream that we'll be doing. If not, you can become a member. And
or you'll
beyond
just
that,
have to wait.
And also, I will be launching Uncle Frank's fundraiser for his family. That'll be launched tomorrow. So join in so that you can get the link to that and help out Yoda and his family as they deal with their loss. And
Uncle Frank, from one veteran to another. Thank you.
And for everyone else that's here, thank you so much. Keep watching AVA's channel. We're going to keep boosting him until he's monetized. And as always, thank you for being worth serving.
Coffee brewing as the sun peeks through the haze. Birds are chirping, serenading morning's praise. Front porch creaks as dreams fade away. America's awakened to a brand new day. Old vinyl spinning a sweet old tune. Day starts dancing under a sleepy moon. Newsprint smudges on fingers of grace. America's awakened at her own steady pace. Sips of sunshine in a coffee cup. Simple moments lifting spirits up. From the mountains to the sandy shore. Morning in America, want just a little more. Neighbors waving with a friendly rise. Kids with backpacks chasing daylight skies. Eyes cooling on a windowsill so fine. America's awakened with a heart full of shine. Old vinyl spinning a sweet old tune. Day starts dancing under a sleepy moon. Newsprint smudges on fingers of grace. America's awakened at her own steady pace. Sips of sunshine in a coffee cup. Simple moments lifting spirits up. From the mountains to the sandy shore. Morning in America, wanting just a little more. Neighbors waving with a friendly rise. Kids with backpacks chasing daylight skies. Eyes cooling on a windowsill so fine. America's awakened with a heart full of shine. Neighbors waving with a friendly rise. Kids with backpacks chasing daylight skies. Eyes cooling on a windowsill so fine. America's awakened with a heart full of shine. Tractors rumble, fields coming alive. Big wheels turning where hopes and dreams strive. Laughter echoes down the old dirt road. America's awakened to lighten her load. America's awakened to lighten her load.